This is our first Black History Month episode.
Happy Black History Month, everybody.
When this podcast airs, it will be a special day.
Tiff, happy birthday.
Make no mistake, that buyout is a trap.
Overall, there are more than 4 million federal government employees throughout the country.
If I'm sitting here watching this happen, what do we do?
I saw Senator Brian Schatz say, I am going to shut down all confirmations for any appointments at the United States Department of State until the money for USA aid is reinforced.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire.
After white folks have stolen so much from Black people, including our labor, our culture, our ideas, across the board, they stealing your money right now.
Wouldn't that amount to forcibly displacing those people from Gaza?
For centuries, this is their land.
And Trump has described it as turning it into the Riviera of the Middle East. And when I say we got to talk to white women, that does not include me. That is not my ministry.
Where the is Jill Stein's Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media.
Welcome.
Welcome home, y'all. This is episode 65 of Native Land Pod. I just got on my looting gear because somebody's looting the government. Y'all want to guess who I am?
Hello.
Elon Musk.
Ding, 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 ding. Or maybe I'm one of his programmers.
It was the tan that gave it away.
Wow. Andrew, I'm not doing racial anything with you, especially in Black History Month. This is our first.
It's only appropriate.
This is our first Black History Month episode.
Happy Black
of the
Black
month,
History
if you don't
Month,
count my
everybody.
live pod from yesterday. But happy Black History Month, while the white people is looting and stealing things out the federal government. So speaking of which, what are we talking about today, y'all?
Well, I think we got to talk about the federal government. We heard a lot of y'all's comments asking us the thievery and the federal government and the proposal to a lot of federal workers that they take these early buyouts and what the implication for that is, not only for the workers themselves, but society writ large.
That's right. And exclamation mark, the Black middle class that has been born into the DMV thanks to early careers at the government, doing excellent work in an excellent way. Because why? They earned it.
How about that? They did earn it. And speaking of did earn it, what we did earn is a huge fight on our hands because of the folks who chose to let the couch win in 2024, and also for the folks who chose to vote for the other side, despite everybody telling you exactly what it was going to be. We didn't need a crystal ball. We had 2016 to go through 2020 to look into what Donald Trump was going to do. So we are going to talk about what this fight means, how we bring the fight to the feds, and what role we all play. What does it mean to play our position in this day and age while they are looting treasury, trying to get rid of leases at GSA, et cetera, et cetera. So that is our rundown for today. And it's a very, very special episode. We don't have calls to action, but we have a special tribute for someone very special.
Oh, you didn't
Welcome
have
home,
to.
y'all. Let's get into it.
You didn't have to.
Hey everybody, it's Native Land Pod, and before we get started today, we just want to tell you to do something very, very important. Help us make history this Black History Month. We are nominated for an NAACP Image Award in the podcast and information category. Please go to NAACPimageawards.net and vote for us, your favorite podcast, because you know this is where we welcome you home. The last day to vote is Friday, so just go on ahead and do it today. Right after that, call your member of Congress and tell them to get their lives together.
Hello.
All right, Andrew. So this was yours. That we were going to talk about these what's happening with the federal government employees. They're being offered to, please go home, resign, because Elon Musk wants to treat the federal government like X, formerly known as Twitter. So what's up with this?
No, it's wild, Angela and Tiffany. And Tiffany, you and I can co-do this one because I know DC is resident home for you. So, when you go out, everywhere you go, you're running into federal employees. And I can not, but I could barely imagine what it is like right now working within this federal government. If you're at USAID, and you were called out by the richest man in the world as a criminal organization, the president then doubles down on that. I could imagine you feeling in some ways devastated, but I just want to let you know what I was told a long time ago. Check the source. Elon Musk is the source on this thing. And I think it's important in recognition of Black History Month and in recognition of who it is that we're dealing with, to remind us that Elon Musk grew up in apartheid South Africa. When the United States finally determined its position against apartheid, thanks to the great lobbying work of members of the Congressional Black Caucus, it was USAID that went in, really representing the United States government, and began to create grant programs and set up institutions that could move people from this mid-enslavement system where Black folks were treated as the underclass, and whites in South Africa, the minority, were obviously treated as those who were privileged. So Elon Musk grew up in an environment. Apartheid did not end until, I think, 3 years after he had graduated high school. So his exposure to us is through that lens. And unfortunate for him, in all of his privilege, he's actually never had to really compete against us. And now he's in D.C. and he's seeing Black folks scaling all kinds of walls against all kinds of obstacles. And you shouldn't be surprised, none of us, that they want to now pull the rug from underneath us. But to get to the details of this package, because we are right now approaching the closing days for federal employees' ability to accept the offer that's been made by Elon Musk, supported by his Vice President Donald Trump. And it essentially said that we encourage you to leave the government. And this email, by the way, was sent to 2 million federal employees. Never done. They can't recall a time where one individual emailed 2 million employees of the federal government, offering them the opportunity to depart from the government. And by the way, if you choose this option, you can go and you can work from home and you can take leave, and we'll pay you all the way to September. Now, y'all, there are lots of reasons to raise an eyebrow to this kind of an offer. One, if the man is offering you this, know that on the back end, he's getting triple, double, quadruple, you name it, benefits from it. But more importantly, y'all, we got to see this for what it is. This is their attempt to hollow out the government and the government employees who, in D.C., they oftentimes kind of conflate with people of color, Black folk very specifically, right, who have gotten out of their place, have somehow been able to navigate this government, work committed years, decades in some cases for folks, to get where you are, only to be told by the least qualified people in the room that you didn't earn it. I want you to hear from one of the lawmakers at our federal level who is speaking as a home state representative. Let's hear from Senator Tim Kaine and hear his advice to federal employees. And then me and my colleagues will pick up on the other side of this and have a conversation on our own.
My advice to you today is simple, even if it's not easy. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep serving everyday folks. You are here because of your expertise. You are here because of your patriotism. You are here because you know the value in dedicating your life to serving your fellow Americans. America needs you. Donald Trump and cronies are determined to do anything they can to knock you off course. They've even dangled a phony buyout in your face. But make no mistake, that buyout is a trap. Donald Trump has no authority to offer you a resignation buyout. Don't trust a guy with a long history of stiffing contractors by taking him up on a sham deal that he won't follow through on.
Yeah, just so you that was, again, Senator Tim Kaine from the state of Virginia, United States Senator. And one of the distinctions I want to point out here real quick is that this offer that Elon Musk made to federal government employees is almost a replica of the offer that he sent to Twitter employees when it came under his ownership. I mean, they had to change a few lines, but by and large, it's pretty much the same communication that was sent to clear out that organization. But the reason why the senator is warning you that this may be a sham deal is because the federal government is really just getting into the business of buyouts. The Clinton administration had to go to court to get sign off to offer folks up to $25,000 for a buyout. Obviously, if you work till September, that you would exceed that amount. And it is right now contestable. And there will be lawsuits on this as to whether or not the government could actually legally offer this at all. Angela, Tiff, y'all have worked around, and in your case, Angela, within the government. How are you processing this? And then also, I'd be interested to hear, what advice would you give to our friends, folks we don't know, our people who are holding it down at the federal level around how they ought to see this deal?
I just really quick, and Tiff, I won't talk long. I want you to be able to weigh in. I want to point out some facts here that are really important. So Senator Tim Kaine represents Virginia. As Andrew said, Virginia has the largest share, only second to Maryland, not even second to Maryland, actually the largest share of federal government employees. Overall, there are 4 million, more than 4 million federal government employees throughout the country. In Virginia specifically, there are 144,000. That's not counting the folks who still benefit from federal retirement, federal pension funds, which would all be compromised under this deal. So if they agree to separate from the government, they will disqualify themselves from receiving their federal retirement. Most of the people that I know who are still in the federal government, if they didn't rotate on and off the Hill, they just stayed. And even for the folks who went back to Capitol Hill, they did it because of the federal government retirement plan. And so you forfeit that opportunity by doing this. The other thing that I want to throw into the mix here for your consideration is the folks that weren't offered the ability to retire, but were summarily fired, some of them 5 months away from retirement. And they also are no longer eligible for that retirement because of a partisan firing. And I think all of this is horrible. It's not fair. People aren't necessarily thinking about consulting with their attorneys because they're like, I just want to get far away from what is to come. This doesn't look like the government that I signed up to work for, to defend, to protect, and to even have my name affiliated with this, my legacy affiliated with this. So they're trying to get away from it, not realizing all they're compromising to run away from it.
Yeah, fair.
I think Angela can attest to this. It's interesting in Washington, D.C., it's one of the only cities that takes on the personality of the administration in charge. And so when I first moved here, George W. Bush was coming in office and the city took on that personality. When President Obama was in office, I mean, D.C. to me was one of the most amazing cities. You know, you had all these chefs from different embassies opening restaurants, and it was a thriving metropolis of young, innovative talent. That was one of the things he did, empowered a lot of young people and, different thinkers to be in these leadership positions. And then when Trump got in office, it felt very post-apocalyptic. I don't know if you guys remember when Melania decorated the White House for Christmas and it was these red trees. I mean, it just looked very strange and weird. Mm-hmm. And we had, of course, COVID. And since then, it's been a really interesting dynamic in D.C. It feels like one, I can understand what Angela's saying, like you want to flee. And so what this is, to me, there's the issue of the personality of D.C. that I think having the only thing that keeps the blood flowing in Washington, D.C., it is the home of the federal government. So oftentimes D.C. Is a city that does not feel impacted by or as impacted by unemployment numbers or, the job market because the home of the federal government. The other thing that why we should all be concerned is because essentially Elon Musk is firing people who would be in charge of regulating his multiple tentacles of business that he wants to do within the federal government. And so he will have free reign, essentially, over instituting policy, bypassing any kind of congressional oversight, as we have already already seen walking into buildings, demanding, without any security clearance, demanding to see things that are well above his intellectual level, well above his pay grade. And so that is the main thing I'm concerned about. I really hope people listen to what Angela said, what they would be giving up, what they'd be leaving on the table. I understand it's not the government that they chose to serve. And I think another thing that we have to be concerned about is how the federal government is being weaponized to serve Donald Trump. And so there was, according to the reporting, there were people who were advised. They said, listen, if you see somebody trying to cover up DEI, any initiatives that are focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, disability, any of it, by calling it another name or sneak it into the budget, please report that person. We are expecting you to report that person. And I just wonder, like we talked about, how long before that gets to outside the federal government? How long before it's, report your neighbors who are not MAGA? And I think the complacency that we're seeing in society, I don't know what it's going to take for people to hear the sound of the alarm. Just this morning, there was a recall, or just this week, I should say, there was a recall on broccoli that was like urgent. It was urgently recalled.
Deadly.
What'd you say, Ange?
I was just saying it was marked as deadly. It's a deadly recall at Walmart, by the way, one of the stores that decided to get rid of DEI. If they would have kept us, the broccoli recall would have been deadly.
But also, this is a function of the FDA. So without government institutions, there are tangible consequences that we will be confronted with. And I don't think people, I think a lot of us who are engaged realize that. I don't think the masses are going to realize that until something devastating happens, which is frightening to me.
Tiff, it's interesting you talked about the sort of culture shift, the mood shift, the vibe shift, if you will, that happens through these transitions. And then you landed here on the oligarchs, right? The Trumps and the Musks attempting to turn employee, coworker against coworker, making you rat out each other. And I presumably to even get into their graces, right? So you be protected while you throw others under the bus. I already know that federal employees are smart enough to resist this most obvious play. Why? Because you all have served diligently, unwaveringly, through Democratic and Republican administrations. Y'all have survived presidents, in fact, many presidents and administrations. This one is different, obviously, because they want to burn the house down. This one is different because the enemy is within, to borrow a phrase from Donald Trump. The enemy is exactly the phrase, the fox guarding the hen house, can't be more apropos than this moment that we see right now with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They don't have respect for the jobs that we do because they don't respect government. Why? Because government regulates. Government holds them accountable. Government says, hey, if you produce something that hasn't been created and engineered with the safety of the American people in mind, we're pulling that off the shelf. They don't want that. It costs them money. And they are fine with treating our lives as expendable so long as their profit margin continues to grow. And I'll end here and simply say, I know it is not easy. I know it's hard. It's hard waking up each day looking at the news to see what new controversy has arrived. But y'all, you swore an oath to the Constitution, to this country of ours that we're still in the pursuit of making more perfect. You've survived other days, and you know what? We're going to survive this one too. But we need you to hang in there because their greatest hope is that you take this offer, you leave the government, and you get replaced with a loyalist and acolyte of Donald Trump who takes a loyalty oath to watch out for him and have his back. And what we need are people like y'all who have the American people's back. So good luck, and we're here for you, I know.
I totally agree with you, Andrew. And I will say we have a question that we want to get to from the audience. We got a lot of audience feedback today. And so we want to make sure we get to as much NLP fam as we can because, this is your safe space too. So let's roll that question.
Hello there, Native Land Pod. I love you guys. This is Charlene here. I just have a question. I wonder, and I apologize if you've already answered it, but what do you think is the plan for Democrats? or what should be the plan. I find it very concerning that there isn't some organized effort to combat Trump at every turn. Someone that speaks out in real time against what he's saying, what he's doing, and presenting the alternative. He was questioned about the economy, and this man, the president of the United States, actually shrugged his shoulders and was like, you know, people will understand and people will not understand. People are afraid. People are anxious. People are distracted, which is, I'm sure, part of the plan. And, you know, it's just craziness. I don't know if this duty will be rotated, since a true and definitive leader doesn't seem to have emerged as of yet. So, I don't know. Just wondering, what's the plan? Or what do you guys think it should be? Thank you. Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome
I
home.
love that.
Welcome home.
Well, she did ask about a leader. And I just want to say, I know that we asked you guys about leaders. We are going to get to your top 5. Angela had a great idea to ask that question about your top 5 leaders. We're going to drop that on our mini pod. So we're not going to get into that now, but be sure to check out our mini pod that drops on Monday, talking about top 5 leaders who you would send to go to the White House. But Angela, I love her question. I'm curious your thoughts on the fight. Because of all the people I know, I think everybody's been engaged a lot, but you've been passionately engaged across a lot of efforts. So curious your thoughts.
You know, I was thinking back even to our conversation last week about a boycott around Target. And my frustration with that boycott is no different than what it is here. You know, I shudder to even say the term resistance now, but I feel like that's what it is. And so when I think about resistance, I have to think about what are we resisting, right? And you could say Donald Trump, but what about Donald Trump are you resisting? You know, when I think about all of the fights, when you're in fight mode, sometimes you forget who your actual enemy is. Yes. And you can sometimes turn your fire towards the people you love. And now it becomes a friendly fire dynamic. You kill off the very person, the very ally that you need because you agree with them 75% of the time and not 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about what's happening right now and where the fight should be mounted. So to me, it is there are nominations before the United States Senate. Those nominations are of people who truly didn't earn it, who truly, and for the most part, are unqualified. I'm being very careful with my language because this is a very litigious administration. And so they don't appear to be qualified. They appear to have positions that will end up being harmful to the American people. Tiff just talked about the role of the FDA. So that's a Senate fight. When you think about the House is responsible for the purse strings of this country constitutionally. Vis-a-vis appropriations measures, also in concert with the Senate. There's a fight to mount in terms of how money is being spent and not spent by the federal government. That is a fight that's in the House. When you think about for the fight for the people, you always have to remember that the people who are elected to serve you in the House and the Senate, really at every level of government, but right now we're talking about the federal level, those folks have an obligation to answer your call, to be responsive to your needs, and to meet your demands. The role of the people is to make calls, to send emails, to show up, and let people know, like Iyanla did in that gift, not on my watch. That wasn't as loud as I wanted it to be, but y'all understand. Yeah. When I think about the other things that are happening, the distractions that we see on social media, the distractions are misinformation, the distractions are the ways in which we are divided because we don't agree on every single issue. The distractions are on how to fight. I don't like the way that you're fighting, or your fight isn't the way that I would fight. Those are the distractions. And so if we can peel back all the layers of the onion and say, what is the fight? What are our demands? And now what is my role to play? I think that's what we have to do in this moment. And we clearly got to take a step back. Now, y'all, I know we did a whole podcast on what is Project 2025. Thanks to Andrew. Tiff, I'll tell you this. I've been trying to make sure that on the solo pods on Tuesday, I am going back to like, this is what it said in Project 2025. Here is the page number. I found my 900-page binder, y'all, because I wasn't about to pay for that book. So I spent $200 on the binder because I wasn't going to give them the money, right? Like, I literally am trying to go back to it. So if we can constantly reset and refocus on our what, I think we can get to a better how. So that's where I am right now. I hate to be that granular, but I think it's important for us to understand as a matter of strategy. We can't talk about a strategy if we don't even agree on what the fight is. So,
yeah.
I loved your framing there, Angela, around just sort of taking this. The beauty of going back and looking at Project 2025 is not anything other than to reduce the shock value of their actions. Because right now, every day they get on TV, every day they wake up, every time Trump, Musk tweets, whatever they do, their intention is to overwhelm us by their sheer force and will that they don't give up about any of the rules of the game. And the truth is, y'all, my frustration has so much been about the fact that the system seems not to be able to reinforce its own rules. So, for instance, if it's illegal for Elon Musk to go in and occupy the Treasury's back-end system, to have access to information about every single American in this country, our most private, our most protected information, if he can do that, and the only thing we can hear from members of Congress is that's flatly illegal, but he's still got access to the system and is still doing whatever he wants to do. It seems that the system's fail-safe ain't catching nothing. The fail-safe is not a fail-safe at all. And if I were to, I think all of us have been in a bit of a malaise after the election. Mm-hmm. Some of it disbelief, a lot of it disappointment and hurt. Some of it blame around who's responsible for what and why we lost. Some of it is denial that we even lost and something is still amiss in the system. And all of that is fine. But I think we've had a really hard time pivoting off of that devastation to believing what they actually said to us when they ran. And now my question is did any of the Democrats who went out and caped for the Democratic ticket believe what we were telling the voters? Did we believe that this man was a threat to democracy? That we believe Project 2025 was their blueprint and they intended to implement it? Because if we believed it, it seems to me the time between the transitions should have been on how it is that we have a game plan that catches them at every single step of the way. And I got to admit, Angela and Tiffany, this week was the first time I feel like I saw Democrats stiffen a spine a little bit. The protests over at three of our departments in Washington, D.C., led by members of Congress and attended by hundreds, thousands of people. And then I saw Senator Brian Schatz say, I am going to shut down all confirmations for any appointments at the United States Department of State until the money for USA aid is reinforced. He can do that. I gave you an example last week of the Republican example, Tommy Tuberville, of holding up all military appointments, and he did it for months on end. So Schatz on the Democratic side, you know what? This is not business as usual. We're not confirming people to the State Department until the State Department relinquishes its control over an agency that was established by the United States Congress and appropriated their budget by the U.S. Congress. Your job is to push send on the check. That's it at this stage because it's been signed and passed into law. So the resistance can't just be, however, at congressional levels. We need mayors. We need community leaders. We need school board members. There are over a half a dozen, maybe 24 Republican congressional seats that are in compromised districts that can go Democratic. There ought to be strategies. The Democratic Party locally in each one of those congressional districts ought to be holding town hall meetings and activating every time that Republican member votes against their district's interests. Those are just some examples of ways that we can engage, but it's not just one level of engagement. We've got to drill down if we're trying to have the kind of impact that we know we need.
Yeah, Andrew, first of all, I just think it's really helpful insight to have both you guys because, Angela, your work in government, mostly, I know you've worked across several sectors, but it's mostly been on the federal side. And Andrew, your expertise, even though you've obviously dealt with federal government as well, has been on the local side. So I think this is really insightful information for not only our audience, but elected officials. I'll tell you guys, I am a bit concerned because it is how do you fight this? You brought up Elon Musk. We talked about him at the beginning of the show. And I'm thinking about his multiple tentacles in and across business. And I feel like Congress is a bit feckless. Musk rocket company SpaceX, they effectively dictate the NASA schedule now. Yep. The DoD, the Department of Defense, they depend on Musk technologies to get most of its satellites in orbit. His companies have $3 billion across nearly 100 different contracts with 17 different federal agencies, some of them that he's trying to dismantle. His companies have been targeted in at least 20 recent investigations, including the safety over his Tesla car. Anytime I call for a car and it's a Tesla, I cancel. And in this new role, he'll have the power to recommend wide-ranging cuts, which he has been doing. And we're essentially giving the world's richest man, a government contractor, the ability to regulate the regulators who would hold him accountable for any of these things. It is overwhelming to combat that. It's overwhelming to combat that. And so when I hear you guys, that's why I wanted to start by saying it's so effective to hear you talk about it. I have to tell you, for me, when people start talking to me about midterms, they start talking about Congress, they start talking about what the Democrats going to do, I'm not even in it. The we I'm talking about is our community. And I think a lot of people want to know, what do lay people do? If I'm not, a politician, if I'm sitting here watching this happen, what do we do? My thought has always been, we have to give people something to believe in again, because so many people are checked out. And I don't know how we get people to pay attention before it's too late, because we're going to see tangible, palpable things happen that are going to devastate all Americans, but us first. It's going to devastate Black folks first, and it's going to hurt us the hardest. And so I think if we, we try to do the best we can here at Native Land Pod with informing people. We had a call, and, we were all complaining, and Michael Harriot, who, is a writer and is a great journalist, he had a really good point that made me so outraged, and I want to share it. I wanted to share it like it was my own original thought, but it's not. It was Michael Harriot's. But he was basically talking about, after white folks have stolen so much from Black people, including our labor, our culture, our ideas across the board, they stealing your money right now. Mm-hmm. They are taking money from you, HBCUs, they taking money from you. Alphas, Omegas, AKAs, Delta, they taking money from you to give it to Delta Chi or whatever. They shutting y'all down. Black folks who depend on a range of services, they taking money from you to fill the pockets of people who don't even need it. They are enriching themselves. And to me, even that simple enough message is enough to outrage people from the bottom up. I think when Democrats start talking about policy and, it gets, when you start incorporating complicated government language, people tend to tune out, and they're already pissed off. We have amazing leaders like Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who we know and love, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who have the ability to speak very plainly and make it digestible. But I just think a lot of people feel outraged, or they feel despondent, and they want to know what to do with it. And I'm curious, you all's perspective, what do you say to those people? The people who might not have capacity to call Congress 800 times, maybe once or twice a week, but they are pissed now and they want to take it to the streets. I don't know if marches is a thing. I don't know if blocking traffic on the 405 is a thing. Maybe, I don't know. But do y'all have any thoughts about that?
I think that you just brought up Congresswoman Pressley. I think we should go to her. But what I will say is everybody's role isn't the same. And so you play your position. So here is Congresswoman Pressley playing her position at a rally. And I do want to give credit where credit is due. These rallies and convenings have been organized by Move On and Indivisible. And the members of Congress showed up to play their position in front of the Department of Treasury yesterday. Let's go ahead and roll that.
As a proud member of the Committee on Oversight, I'm here for some real-time congressional oversight. This is an unprecedented moment, a constitutional constitutional crisis, but we will match their energy. With unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, agitating, we will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby. A godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart, and sell the pieces of. And I want to say to our Republican colleagues, pay attention. We're here today in the hopes that you will see the light. But if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
That's it.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Me
Goosebumps.
too. I thought it was so powerful. And I think that as frustrating as it is to have to stop, pause for a moment to figure out the approach, it's clear that there has not been a consistent, cohesive approach. We know that there has been a lot of internal fighting within the Democratic Party. Hell, even just this past weekend with these elections, many people don't even know who Ken Martin is, the new DNC chair. What is his strategy? Is he working with Democratic leadership in the House or the Senate to come up with an approach? Why aren't they sitting in on the House floor saying it won't be another damn bill that passes until you get this dude under control? The Senate side, it won't be another nomination that nobody will get confirmed until you do right by your taxpayers. There is a clear, to me, approach that is about putting your body on the line in ways where most of our members have already had to do that. We have some brand new elected senators. Every time I think about Lisa Blunt Rochester, the first image I have of her is her praying feverishly on January 6th. Mm-hmm. And now she's got to do this all over again. The insurrection looks different, but it is an insurrection no less. And so we have to be clear about what is our collective call. Our first call is to unify. It is to get on the same page. Whether you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent, a Libertarian, whatever, you should want to protect your hard-earned money. You should want to protect your taxpayer dollars. Did you sign up to pay for Elon Musk's 6 coders to come in and have full unfettered access to the Treasury payment systems? Probably not, regardless of your party. And so I think at the end of the day, we have to look at the fact we don't have the executive branch. The executive branch is now run by an oligarchy. It's a monarchy. It's a problem. We don't have the legislative branch, but we have places. Andrew raised such a good point. We have places where we can lean in. Those Republican members who just barely won in mostly blue districts, who are those people? We should be putting them up on our social media. Blow them up. Let them know you're going to be right there at every town hall meeting, at every public appearance in their district, letting them know that if they don't sign up to protect democracy, this is going to be their last term. Hell, it might be all of our last term, but you know what I'm saying. We do have the judicial branch. Use it. There are even Ronald Reagan appointed judges, confirmed judges, who are stopping Donald Trump because it's too far. Yeah. So we have got to utilize every single tool because guess what, y'all? Just like democracy is fragile, so are the tools. So if we don't immediately use what we have at our disposal, we're going to be in trouble.
Well, we talked a bit about this. Andrew, I was actually kicking to you. I just
go ahead.
Okay.
I want to say amen and then give it back.
Okay. Well, I'm giving it back to you. I'm passing the mic to you because we were talking about this a little bit before we record and on our conversation. And we talked about the buyer's remorse that some people are having now. Angela just made, I think, a really good point, a challenging point for us to accept, but a good point about friendly fire. because you don't like 25% of what somebody said, like we're cut off.
Yeah.
Or you think, well, your community voted overwhelmingly for this, so I'm not gonna help and I'm not gonna share in your outrage. I'm gonna wait till it comes to me. And I do think we have to set that aside on some level. This week Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu was in town, and just what they have planned for Gaza, it's basically an intention to displace 1.8 million people, Palestinians who call Gaza home. And Trump has described it as turning it into the Riviera of the Middle East. There's no solid plan on what this looks like. He said, we have to go to other countries with humanitarian efforts and see if the Palestinians can live there. There's no plan on how to do that. But also, it's not even your place to do that. It's just so awful. And so we talked
Not to mention,
we do have a clip of him too.
Okay, well let's play the clip and then I'll pick up on the other side.
Illegal.
Yeah, illegal.
I would like to see Jordan. I'd like to see Egypt take some look. The Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked, and I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable. I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site.
Wouldn't that amount to forcibly displacing those people from Gaza?
I don't think so. I think if they had the opportunity, they'd love it. If they had an alternative to Gaza, they have no alternative right now. I mean, they're there because they have no alternative. What do they have? It is a big pile of rubble right now. I mean, have you seen the pictures of it? Have you been there? It's terrible to live. Who can live like that? And very dangerous. There's shooting all over the place. There's bombing all over the place on both sides. No, I would think if they had an option of moving to an area, either in a large group or various smaller groups, and take care of the close to 2 million people, I would think that they would be thrilled.
This is Exhibit A, listeners, of why you do not want to take history out of public education.
But that's also, right, Andrew, the ridiculousness.
Because this man's comments were completely
ignorant,
void of the fact that the Palestinian people who he's talking about redeveloping and making the Riviera have been occupants of this land and the greater what we now know today as Israel for centuries. This is their land. And people who don't understand, have no appreciation for history and a people's, could say something as flagrant as, we'll put them away, send them elsewhere, this is not going to work. Who the hell are you? Let me say this. Palestine, the Gaza is sovereign territory. Sovereign. If anybody across the country, across the world, listened to Trump at that press conference, they could only conclude one thing, and that is that the United States of America is now a rogue nation. Mm-hmm. A rogue nation who does not conform to international norms, treaties, and laws.
We stand alone on the global stage.
We got good company going down there with Maduro. Oh. Right? Hang out over there with Putin.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un's got a place for you, right? Those are the kinds of people who we are now lining up side by side with, holding hands, because they are also despots. Just like the despot that we have as president of the United States. Tiffany, to your question around what do we do with those folks who we know, communities who we know could have performed differently in the last election?
Like some of the Palestinians in their protest vote.
It could all look different, right? I would have to say, not only, we're not burying the hatchet here. What we're saying is that divided, none of us will be able to stand. Divided, that's none right. of us. We're all fodder. We're all food on the plate for them to devour. So in this moment, we got to come together. But know this. I need you to remember that I'm coming to have your back right now. And I need this to inform you and the folks who you have influence over the next cycle. Because we've got congressional races and this and that and go down the list. But this is not a carte blanche, live and let live. This is, I'm with you on this. But let me tell you this much. I need you to remember this moment, sketch it in your brain, on your heart, and in your hand, so that the next cycle, you're not sitting out here post-election with your regrets and stay homes and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because you saw the bigger picture and recognized that this is a formula that we just have to work to our advantage, and we will creep along and make progress as we can.
What you got, Angela?
I just have to. So I'm for, I was on the pre-production call. I'm for unity. I just got to get something off my chest. And I've been doing really good and not cussing on this podcast, but I'm telling y'all now I'm about to cuss, so please bleep it. Where the is Jill Stein's bitch ass? Where is Jill Stein? Because my question is, you had all of this ire and fire for what was happening with the Palestinian people, as you should have. Your dumb ass got on a podcast and called me a black face in a high place. You had all of this smoke for Kamala Harris, and you still ain't said a goddamn thing about Donald Trump or this administration. Meanwhile, he's done exactly what Jared Kushner said he was going to do, which is to have a plan to develop this area so it's beachfront property. And these people are still suffering, and you are silent. You are complicit with this man. Now, I'm not even trying to come at all of the people who voted for her, who stayed at home, which also I'm very, very frustrated by. But I want to be so clear about the fact that this is the problem. If a motherfucker comes around every 4 years with all kinds of shit, but they can't protest when your money is getting hijacked, federal dollars are being frozen, American people still can't afford these damn eggs, and you're silent, be clear about who they are. Don't you ever come at me again. My work speaks for itself, whether we're in cycle or out of cycle. Don't you ever goddamn come for me again. Now, to unity. UNITY. I just had to get off my chest.
All three mic drops. All three mics did drop. Go ahead.
I just am saying, you guys, I know now we have to move forward. We cannot sit in I told you so, because that I told you so puts us in the very harm tip that you talked about. Our people can't afford to sit on the sidelines and be harmed, because to your point, our people will be harmed first. So my question is, if the other side's strategy is to steal, to kill, to destroy, just like the devil, what is our strategy to counter that? What is our strategy not only to respond, but to prepare so that we're not on our heels the next time this is coming? We've got to figure out how to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We just got to. And I hate to continue to talk about harm mitigation and harm reduction in our votes. We should get abundance in whenever we vote because of all that we've given to this country. That's exhausting. But also, here we are. I definitely don't want to be going from trauma to trauma.
Yeah.
This ain't it either. So we got to figure it out.
I appreciate the question. I say this because I think this is something you were hitting on, Andrew, about, unity. And I think Black women in particular have been great organizers, because when we organize, we do it for the greater good of community. And I understand Black women that y'all are tired, because I'm tired. We tired. We is tired of the bullshit. Like, we are tired. But the country benefits from us saving ourselves. We're not out here trying to die as sycophants for a country who still causes us harm. We are out here saving ourselves. We're saving our husbands, our sons, our daughters, our families, our parents, our grandchildren, the future generations of us who have yet to be born. And sometimes that is going to cause us to dip into a cause, because we are trying to stop the train from running us over. And if it's 15 people in front of me, I need to stop the train from running you over, because after that train knocks you down, it's coming for me. And I think we have to change. I get it. We pissed off. We pissed off after the election. We looking at everybody like we 92%. What the fuck were y'all doing? We get that you showed up. Did you get in your group chat and bring your mama, your cousins, your auntie? Did y'all do it? Like, we've been doing this forever. Like, how many times do we have to do it for y'all to get the message? Kim Blackwell made the point, we got to talk to white women. Now, and when I say we got to talk to white women, that does not include me. That is not my ministry. I'm not good for that. That's not Angela's ministry. That's not good for that. It might not be Andrew's ministry to talk to Katie.
It's Andrew's.
We don't know.
No, listen, I ain't talking. All I'm saying is, when you do show up at the meeting, and now we're all in emergency mode because they're coming down your street, up your block, on your driveway, We're gonna be there. Let me tell you, we're gonna be there for the fight that impacts us collectively. We will be there for the fights that impact us collectively. But you will be called to the carpet. We're going to remember in this moment that remember how you feel right now.
Right. Well, I just want to finish this empowerment. I just want to finish the point about it's not just white women, because there's also the Latino community.
For sure.
You know, and that we don't talk a lot about because white-run newsrooms still center white folks. But the Latino community is very disaggregated, you know, different countries of origin, different philosophies. But they splintered heavily towards Republicans. Somebody got to talk to, that ain't my ministry either. Yeah. I'm quicker to do that before I could with white women, but I don't know enough. I'm a guest of the community, not a member of it. Yeah. So y'all need to talk amongst yourselves, and we will do what we can. Palestinians with their protest vote, somebody got to talk to Palestinian people. Like, we really do have to take on the Fred Hampton approach. Poor white folks, somebody got to talk to poor white folks. That ain't my ministry. You know, I'll echo Dave Chappelle when he said, of all the whites, the poors are the worst. Because they really don't give a shit about us.
Well, because they're closest to danger.
Right. And
so far as they
are
it.
Like, obviously there are exceptions to this rule, but a lot of them feel like I'm in this situation because of you. When the wealthiest white man laughing at all of us, they don't have no community for you. That you think Elon give a shit about you in West Virginia?
No, he sees
don't
them
care
as the
at
canary
all. Right, exactly,
in the coal mine.
Exactly. So I don't know how we do those conversations. Something that Angela, you said when we were at Kim Blackwell's conference in Miami, and we were talking about being tired. And this is before the election. We were talking about being tired, and you made a good point and said, well, maybe everybody's not tired in the same way. So I know if it's not my ministry to talk to white women, if you got the patience and tolerance for it, then that's your ministry, like right now. But we have to give people something to believe in, and something has to outrage us before it's massive loss of life, before it's acts of violence. Something has to bring us to outrage for us to bring this country to unity and for us to unite and fight. And I don't know what that is, but I know every week on this podcast we will have these discussions and try to figure it out. And if y'all got ideas, we want to hear from you too about it.
I want somebody to start a petition and make sure Jill Stein don't run over never again. That's what I want. That's a good starter.
Yeah, and more importantly, the people who actually went and sacrificed their vote that direction, see what you got for it.
Yeah.
All right? Where they at now? You looking to the left, right, behind you, side, front, they ain't nowhere to be found.
Treated you like a low-dollar hoe.
Hello. Or useful tool, right? Because we don't know what's there. Around her and what all was there. But one thing I just want to say, everyone does have a question about where it is we need to do, what it is. My simple response is, it is not rocket science, y'all. There is we don't have to conclude some chemistry formula that we don't remember since high school. It is nothing like that. It is, you feel this in the heart, in the nerve, and in the sinew that something ain't right. And you take that righteous indignation and you spread it to your family, friends, and neighbors. And then while y'all sitting there chatting about how unbelievable the moment is, you start putting out ideas around how we stand in the gap. What we do, it is just that visceral that it happens. And yes, I'm with Angela and Tiff about a plan. And hopefully folks gonna get there. But in the meantime, between time, everything that has been forecast is happening right now. We don't have to wait. It is happening right now. Yep. Get in touch with your heart, nerve, and your spine, your sinew, and get to work. I don't need you telling me. I know what I got to do now. I see the threat. It is staring me in my face every day.
Andrew, can you answer that though? What are you like? Because for some people who literally do get
Congress
stuck.
Members.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you doing?
Locally, we'll publish the list of the seats that are targeted seats, and if you live in those areas, you start making noise in those areas, and it don't take much. If you went to a congressperson's office and you bought 15 of your friends, I guarantee you that's 15 more people than they've seen all year at that office. It is just as simple as going up and saying, in the grocery store, because sometimes it gets this way. You see your politician people never hesitated. When I was mayor, I love you, Andrew, but you need to get them street lights on earlier on blah, 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 blah. They let their demands be known.
Yeah.
And they didn't make apology for making those demands be known. You do the very same thing here, and I know it will be exhausting to have to call your Republican members of Congress because you live in a red state or in a red district, but you call them anyway. Why? Because they are no longer candidates for office. They are now the Congress member for all of us. And all our tax dollars are being aggregated to pay for this here system. So you're accountable to me. So Angela, that's what I'm saying around the. It is touchable, it's tangible, it's feelable, and you don't need a rocket scientist to solve this problem. We are the solve.
And they're the minority.
We are the solve.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. They are the minority. Like when you
and population for sure.
That's what I mean. Because people get caught up in like, oh, it's split. You know, like, oh, it's so close in the Senate because it's, you know, they got this bit much of a majority. But no,
they have the electoral college.
Right. When you zoom out across the country, MAGA, Republicans, conservatives, they are the minority in this country. A majority of people support most of the Democratic policies. The challenge is, this is how we got confused, and Angela corrected us with the popular vote last time because it was such a narrow margin and the voting population was so small. So people think there are these two equal forces when they are not. There's this,
the winner was the couch.
Right. But there is this small amount of people with power over this amount of people. And we have to make people realize that. Right.
That's the same way slavery was. Yep. There were more folks enslaved than there were slaveholders. And I think that we have to remember that. We are the people. We, the people, have power in our hands. And to that point, we have Robert, who's a regular, who has sent in his own CTA, and he's talking about what he's doing. Let's roll that.
Hey, this is Robert from Lexington, South Carolina. Welcome home, y'all. Call your congressional members. Make your voice heard. Make the issues heard. I don't care if you got a Democrat or Republican. I got all Republicans. I'm giving them hell right now. I've called them most I've ever called in the last 7 or 8 days. Call your congressional members. They need to know you exist. They need to know these issues are important. They need to feel the pressure. Let's go. Welcome home.
That's right.
Welcome home, Robert. I wonder if Robert has a dog. He looked like he has a dog.
It sounded like he had kids. It was like,
I heard babies in the
back. But you know, I just was gonna tell you one thing, Andrew, because Andrew is our resident Rainbow Coalition builder. I wanted to play Robert because I think it's important. We put people in boxes based on where they are geographically. This is Robert from South Carolina, y'all. Robert is about that life. He's always, reaching out to the show and letting us know when he likes something, when he doesn't, what he's doing. I think it's so important to understand that one person can make a huge difference. And that's what all we're saying. Do not forfeit your power in this moment. Do not forfeit the fight. You might not want to call it resistance any more than I do. I get it. But we have so much to do in so little time. Andrew's right. We do need to figure out what our demands are in a line quickly, but we don't have a lot of time. As time goes on, the more tools that we continue to lose.
That's it.
So
that's it.
Well,
I love Robert's comment in the sense, Angela and Tiff, that he has figured out the big secret that politicians don't want you to know, and that is simply that it don't take a lot of people to move them. And when they don't hear from us, they think that we're okay with what they're doing. They take silence as complicity and in many cases approval for what they're doing. And if you know you're not approving, let them know you're not. And I promise you, they are soft in the sense that they don't like to be unpopular. They don't like to be on the opposite side of the people who put them in office, because them same people got the damn power to take them out of office. That's what you have. That's what you should stand on. I put you here. I ain't vote for you, but you got here. But we sure as hell gonna organize and take you out.
Yeah.
You know what we should do the next couple of shows? Maybe we can each simulate a call with a member of Congress, like what we do, what we would say. My person that I would want to call is Kirsten Sinema, because I just don't understand what's happening, why she's whipping votes for Tulsi Gabbard. That's a story for another day, but I think it's really important for people to see it's really not that hard. They have.
Why we gotta simulate? I think we should do it in real time. DC.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. Like actually call. Oh, like not a role play, but actually call.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say DC is a one party territory, so we can record.
Except they're responsible to all of us.
Yes, I mean the law, but I mean I mean the law where you can't. There's a 2-party state or a 1-party state, and in 2-party states.
But that's to record the call. Right. We wouldn't be. Well, I guess we are technically recording the call. We'd be recording. I'll tell them. I'll be like, I'm calling from Native Land Pod.
Yes, exactly. But
my listeners can hear you.
But I believe DC is one party. Only one party has to know a call is being recorded. In some states, as both parties have to know. So anyway.
Well, we recording in D.C. when we do these calls, okay?
Yes, yeah. So, but I really like that idea to call members. I'm not going to say who, but somebody daddy be calling members of Congress.
Eddie Rye Jr. all day long.
I was about to say, ain't no secret to that one.
Ain't no secret. Everybody knows Papa Rye. Papa Rye probably on the phone with a member right now. He has sorry, I'm so on a tangent, but I got to tell y'all this. So there's a reparations bill that's up in the Washington State Legislature. When I tell you Eddie Rye Jr. is raising holy hell about this bill, he not even letting this man is telling him he wants to make sure the bill don't die. Eddie Rye is like, let me tell you why you wrong. This bill is in the House of Representatives. It's here. He's like, you gonna pass this bill. And I'm like, Dad, it's going to take a legislature, but we going to talk to Papa Rye about strategy after this. Right now, his role is agitation. Yeah. Mine might be advocacy. We all have a role to play. Let the agitators agitate. Let the advocates advocate. And let the legislators legislate. And I ain't got no more Reverend Jackson rhymes left in me, so we're going to go to this very special tribute. Shout out to Reverend Jackson. We love you. We love you. Let's go to this very special tribute. When this podcast airs, it will be a special day. And so here we are. We have something to share with y'all.
Oh, who that?
This name recording?
Who over there?
I hope so.
That's so ridiculous.
Anyway, what they want me to say here?
How come we can't hear it, Nick?
Tiff, man, happy birthday. I hear it's crazy. Happy birthday, friend. Listen, they want me to say here, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. That's a good message, but it's Tiffany. I can make my own message. What's up, beautiful friend of mine? I just wanted to wish you another happy 365 and to say that this last year was made all the more rich for me because of the time we had deepening into our friendship. You are brilliant, you are hilarious, you are direct, you crazy as hell, and you'll get a brother in a fight in a minute. Just saying. Do better. Happy birthday, girl. Bye.
I stand before this queen to show you the type of queen you are. Happy birthday, sis. I love you so much. Thank you for sharing time, space, your brilliance, your beauty, your encouragement with the world. I pray that this year, it pulls off a miracle for you because right now, the way this thing is set up, America is the ghetto, but you deserve so much more. So let's pray for divine favor and that you get all the things that you ask and hope for because you are worthy, my sister. I love you.
Happy
You look so pretty,
birthday
you look gorgeous.
Ya. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Tiff, I just want you to know, sister, how much I love you, how much I adore you, that I am absolutely clear that in a moment like this, we need truth speakers like you. I cannot wait until this new book comes out. I cannot wait to see all the wonderful, powerful things that I know you will do, that you are doing. But most importantly, just thank you for being you. You have been such a blessing in my life. Your spirit, your courage, your truthfulness, your jokes, like your time, just spending time with you has been one of the greatest blessings in my life. So I just want to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to ya.
Where is Gary?
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. I sound like LB, right? Like I literally sound like our fellow machete LB. Happy birthday, Tiffany. You are creating your own way, which I love. You've always done so. I salute you. The cocktail. Happy birthday, friend. Enjoy. Hey, Tiffany D. Cross. Of course, the D stands for Dime
Joy. Hey.
Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. You are the sweetheart of the machetes, always making sure that you're taking care of everybody else and hoping that this birthday you take care of you because you deserve all the good things. Love you so much, baby sis. And anybody ask me, yes, we are related. Love you, girl.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, Tiffany. Oakley. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Well, he would actually like to say, come give me a belly rub.
and play with me. But
oh my God.
Happy birthday to the best dog auntie and the best sister machete that anybody could ask for. I hope you're having a great birthday. Look at Oakley. Oakley does too. Clearly he's giving you his best. He's giving you his all because he's very excited for you on your special day. So happy birthday.
Oh, God.
Hey, what's up, Tiff? I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. And I also wanted to thank you. You're such a sports expert and you're such a gifted broadcaster. I just want to thank you for never fully taking the dive into sports broadcasting because I might be out of a job. I mean, with your kind of astute, on-point analysis and with your breadth of knowledge about sports, you really made sure that my career was able to stay on track. So thank you for never jumping into sports. Happy birthday.
You're welcome.
Tiff,
You're welcome.
Happy birthday. I just hope that this is the most abundant and beautiful year for you because you absolutely deserve it. Your heart is massive. You are generous. You are thoughtful. You are brilliant. And you are always, always, always looking out for the people. So I hope that this is the year that all the people look out for you, that the people watch out for you because the heights are going higher and higher, and that you have the happiest birthday. I love you.
Hey, Tiff. Happy birthday. Look at those dimples. Sending you the warmest, biggest, bestest birthday wishes.
He does look cute.
On another trip around the sun, my wish for you is that your voice become even stronger. My wish for you is that you attract all of the goodness in the world, from top to bottom, left to right. My wish for you is that you finish your book and that we get the blessing of learning from one of the sharpest minds in the game. And my other wish for you, Tiffany, is that you get loved on from near and far in all of the ways, and may it be equal to or bigger than all of the love that you put in the world. That's a lot of love, girl. That's a lot of love.
Oh.
I love you a lot. I'm wishing you the happiest birthday. And I know times are weird, but you are a bright light. Ooh, you are a bright light in the darkest of times. Love you, sis.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Tiffany. Happy birthday. We're getting ready for the show, but girl, I have to say something. My producer says happy birthday, too.
Happy birthday.
Have a great day and another wonderful year around the sun, my love.
Yeah. God bless. Many more to come, Tiffany.
Lynette. That's Lynette and Matthew.
Love that New York accent.
Watch this.
What's up? How you doing, Tiff? It's your favorite Aquarian, Questlove, wishing
I'm like, what?
my other favorite Aquarian a happy birthday.
Getting his hair did.
Keep fighting the good fight.
What is he doing?
Love you.
Is he listening to music?
I don't know.
He's getting his hair done.
Clearly. That is hilarious.
Now, we all know how I feel about
Oh my
the
God,
ADA podcast display.
Angela, what?
But I got an assignment from our chief of staff, and of course I'm going to hop on to say happy birthday to you, Tiffany. My dear friend, you are a force of nature, someone we love, trust, listen to, and just value so deeply. I hope you have an amazing birthday and can't wait to celebrate with you in person. Happy birthday.
Tiffany, happy birthday, nigga!
Yeah.
Sorry, this is for the podcast. This is Roy Wood Jr. wishing Tiffany Cross a very esteemed and professional birthday. And I hope that your birthday is as spectacular as you are and you get to drink a lot of wine and eat a lot of drugs. I mean food.
Happy birthday to our Black History Month birthday
were
queen,
harmed.
Tiffany Cross.
Beautiful friend.
Words from the birthday queen.
I will tell y'all off camera what has been going on this week, but that is the best birthday celebration. If nothing else happen, that is the best birthday celebration. I'm gonna watch that about 20 more times. Thank you guys for pulling that together. Beautiful. And I just feel so full and grateful. I'm grateful. I'm broadcasting today from Roland Martin Studio. Yes, Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'll be broadcasting here from now on. And it just, I feel so grateful to be able to have this platform, to share it with you guys, to share this space with you guys. And if I could do anything, if I had like one wish, it would be that all the people in that video, all of Machetes, all of us would be together in person. I couldn't think of anything material that I'd want. I couldn't think of... I was talking about this the other day. If I had all the money in the world, I don't know that it would solve any of the problems I'm having right now. Maybe a few, but not really. But it really, the older I get, it's the intangible things, it's the memories, it's the laughter, it's the jokes, it's the feel-good moments. And most of those have been shared with the folks you saw in that video, with you guys. And so I'm just so abundantly grateful. And there was a lot of inside messages from the Machete. So Alicia, I heard you. I hear everything you're saying. And everybody else. I'm just so grateful, and my cup runneth over. So what a blessing. So thank you guys so much.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. Make sure y'all send all the love to Tiff today. It is her birthday, the day our podcast drops. And she's a Black History Month queen, so you can tell her happy Black History Month too. If you don't, make sure you also follow her other podcast, which is called Across Generations. There are 635 days until the midterm elections, and most importantly, it's Tiffany's birthday. Welcome home, y'all.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Thank you for joining the natives. Intentional with the info on all of the latest. Rod Gillum and Cross connected to the statements that you leave on our socials. Thank you sincerely for the patience. Reason for your choice is clear. We're so grateful. Took the oath to execute roles. Yeah, faithful. Preserve, defend, and protect the truth, even if painful. Welcome home to all of the natives. We thank you.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.